Okay, so this will be a supplemental lecture over the last part of the brain and the autonomic nervous system. And I'm going to pick up the conversation on the brain on the cranial nerves. Now, the cranial nerves, as you know, are part of the brain, or they're leaving from the brain. We discussed the 31 pairs of spinal nerves that leave the spine. And so these are correspondingly 12 nerves that leave the brain, and they're all responsible for your senses or functions of your face and head and neck. These nerves, we're going to know them by their name, we're going to know them by their Roman numeral. You're not responsible for knowing them in their anatomic position here. So if you were to turn the skull over, turn the brain over, you would see these nerves on the bottom side of the brain models that we have upstairs. And again, I'm not going to ask you to know them, but you'll see that they go from number 1 through to number 12, basically in order of their appearance from anterior to posterior. And here you can see the medulla oblongata and the pons and the beginning of the spinal cord. And way up here at the frontal lobe, you can appreciate that you have these what look like antennae, and these are the olfactory bulbs, a part of the olfactory nerve. So as I go through these 12 nerves, what will be important is that you know their Roman numeral, you know the name of the nerve, you're taking note if the nerve is a sensory nerve, as this one is, or is it a motor nerve, or is it mixed, and finally, what is the overall function of that nerve? So to get started, number 1 is the olfactory nerve. This is the nerve that allows you to smell, and smell or olfaction is certainly a sense. There's no motor function here. So this nerve is only a sensory nerve. Now this is a little bit different than the spinal nerves. All of the 31 spinal nerves are certainly mixed nerves. There is both motor and sensory function traveling through that nerve. So some of the cranial nerves, what we're going to see is that they're more specialized in that they're only sensory or only motor, and of course there are some that are both. This nerve is originating up in the nasal mucosa, so as you are smelling, the chemicals in the air are bound to receptors on the olfactory bulb and are on the olfactory receptors, and this is going to allow you now to smell. This would be considered a chemoreceptor because it is receiving chemicals and is sensitive to different chemicals. I'll be showing you some pictures of these. I would not ask you to know these structures, but it may help you in appreciating these nerves. So up here we can see the brain itself, and there's the pituitary gland sitting in the sella turcica. Here are some sinuses here, and here we see the nerve endings, if you will, for the olfactory nerve, and you can see that they're coming down through the cribriform plate, which was a part of the ethmoid bone right next to the crista galli, and this is why when you are smelling, if you're clogged up, if you've got a lot of mucus buildup, then you can't smell as well because those chemicals are blocked from receiving or being received by the nerve. The second nerve you've already seen in the lab. This is the optic nerve. It is also a sensory-only nerve. It is allowing you to see the sense of vision. It also, of course, allows you to see shadows and movement. Think about it. If in your periphery you see something flash, or you see something move in the distance, and that's going to help you with your perception of movement. This nerve, originates back in the retina, and it's a photoreceptor. It's receiving light into the eye, allowing you to see. So it's coming out of the back of the eye. So there's your optic nerve, and it travels. Now, not all of it, but a lot of it does decussate to the other side. But you'll see too that some of the fibers stay on the same side. So it doesn't 100% decussate. And then ultimately, where does most of this information go? You know that most of this information goes back to the occipital lobe. Occipital lobe. So information from the left eye. So this means that information from the left eye is not exclusively, but primarily decussating over and going to the occipital lobe of the opposite side. And this is what we would call the visual cortex. Is here, you know, the cortex means the outer layer of the brain, and it's there that the optic nerve is sending most of its signals. And again, the other eye would decussate to the other side. The third nerve, the ocular motor nerve, is a motor nerve. This is one of three nerves that are going to control the movement of the eye, but in a very, very particular way. So this particular nerve is going to move the eye just up and down. So up and down movement. The name sort of tells you, right? It's motor, movement of the eye. But again, up and down movement, and if you can look toward your nose, if you can look cross-eyed, then that is the ocular motor nerve doing its job. This nerve is also giving you pupil constriction, so when you're relaxed, your pupils are more relaxed and the pupil is more constricted and allows you to raise your upper eyelid. Now, you'll see other functions of the cranial nerves. These are by far the major ones, and these are the ones that I want you to know. When you're looking at this nerve, again, I wouldn't have you label these, but the nerve is coming in, and there are a series of little muscles that control the movement of the eye. And this nerve happens to control the muscles that allow you to pull on this nerve, right, to pull and to see up and down, and this nerve on the bottom. So like a little pulley system, it allows the eye to go up and down, but also allows your eye to look over toward your nose. The fourth nerve, the trochlear nerve, is also an eye movement nerve. And this one, imagine you're standing in an anatomic position. You're looking forward. Your hands are down to the side. Your palms are facing forward. This is the nerve that allows you to look down and out, down and lateral toward the palm of your open hand. So again, the nerves that allow this movement are coming up, this cute little pulley system, and you're now able to look down and out by the control of the trochlear nerve. The trigeminal nerve, we're getting away from the eye for a moment. The trigeminal nerve, tri, must have three parts to it. The trigeminal has an ophthalmic, a maxillary, and a mandibular branch, and this is your first mixed nerve. It is both sensory and motor, in that not only are you able to feel your face and feel your jaw, your lips, your tongue, but also this is the nerve that controls your chewing muscles. So the ability to move your jaw and to chew, your masseter, for example, is the job of this nerve. So as you look at this cartoon of this, the nerve is coming in and it has a ophthalmic branch up by the eye to the maxilla and down to the mandible, and also goes down to control the muscles of mastication. The trigeminal, as the name suggests, three regions. So if you can feel your forehead, feel your upper jaw, and feel your chin area and the side of your face, then all three branches of the trigeminal nerve are intact. The abducens, we're back to the eye. When you see the word abducens, I want you to see the word abduct. So this is the ability for you to abduct your eye to look laterally. So if you can move your eyes left and right, then you are, or really I should say just laterally, right? If you're moving your eye out, that's the abducens. If you're moving your eye in toward your nose, that would be back to the ocular motor. So again, the muscles that can control this, you can see the abducens is controlling the movement of your eye, this lateral rectus muscle that, again, you don't need to know the name of the muscles, but you see that it's a muscle that controls the movement of the eye to the side. The facial nerve, the seventh nerve, this is a mixed nerve. It is going to give you the sense of taste in the front 2/3 of your tongue, so it's sensory, but it's also allowing you to make funny faces, to move the muscles of your face and of your lips. So when I hear the facial, I think, okay, funny faces. And again, you can appreciate here that it comes and it's involved with many of the muscles all over the face. And you see here also it's going to the salivary glands. If you're going to be tasting, you better be salivating. So I didn't mention that back here, but this nerve, the seventh nerve, is definitely involved with salivation. If you're eating and tasting, you better be salivating to digest the food. The eighth nerve you've already seen in lab. This is the nerve coming off the ear. It is a sensory-only nerve. It branches into the hearing portion and the balance portion. It has about 3 different names. Some books will call it just the auditory nerve. Others will call it the auditory vestibular nerve, and your Amerman called it the vestibular cochlear nerve. So again, all the names suggest 2 portions of it, one going to hearing and one going to balance. When you look at your ear model, here's the nerve, and you see it has a branch going to the semicircular canals and a branch going to the cochlea. The ninth nerve is the glossopharyngeal. You know, glosso means tongue and pharynx means throat. So this is your gag reflex, your swallow reflex. This nerve is also allowing you to taste on the back third of your tongue. So there's also some salivation here as well. So the gag reflex, if your swallowing is normal, then likely your glossopharyngeal nerve is also just fine. Again, you can see the nerve coming down and going to the salivary glands and to the throat muscles, controlling swallowing. The 10th nerve is the largest and most complex nerve. Vagus means to wander. So this is the nerve that is wandering from your cranium all the way down to your gut and to your heart and to your lungs. And it is monitoring your visceral responses. So this nerve is measuring how full your stomach is, for example. This is also your brain freeze nerve. When you go to 7-Eleven and you get a Slurpee and you take in too much, you feel that pain on the top of the roof of your mouth. But actually, what you've done is you've put ice down into your gut, and your vagus nerve there is sensing that coldness, and you're feeling that sensation, that discomfort up in the roof of your mouth. So again, if you're able to speak, if you're able to cough, if you're able to make your consonants, your hard consonants like K and G, then you have an intact vagus nerve. You can appreciate here it comes and wanders all the way down. Lungs, heart, gut, all those organs are receiving sensory information. Sensory information is being sent through the vagus nerve. The 11th nerve is the accessory nerve. This is a motor-only nerve. It is going to your sternocleidomastoid and to your trapezius. So it's allowing you to turn your head and raise your shoulders. Right, so there's your sternocleidomastoid, some of the trapezius. The hypoglossal is the 12th nerve under the tongue. This is a motor nerve, and it allows you to stick out your tongue and move your tongue around. So how are you going to remember this? What you need to remember are the names and the numbers and the functions and sensory or motor for these nerves. So here is the beginning of a mnemonic, and they are in order from the first nerve through to the 12th nerve. And the first letter represents the name of the nerve. So here is a completed mnemonic. Oscar's old ostrich tasted tomatoes and felt very, very good, vomited, and how. Again, the first letter is O for olfactory, all the way down to hypoglossal for number 12. And the phrase will help you remember them in their order. Or if you don't like that one, how about orange orangutans often try to avoid feeding angry gorillas very ancient hot dogs. Again, whichever one of these you choose, oh, once one takes the anatomy final, very good vacations are heavenly. You choose one of these and it will help you. If you don't like these, make up your own, or perhaps go to Google and type in mnemonics for cranial nerves and you'll be overwhelmed by other individuals' creativity. Another set of mnemonics would help you remember if the nerves are sensory, motor, or both. And so Sally sells mega monkeys, but my brother sells bigger, better mega monkeys. The S for sensory, the M for motor, the B for both. Or maybe perhaps some say Marilyn Monroe, but my brother says Brigitte Bardot. You choose. Again, choose one of these and it will help you. Now the way you're going to be quizzed on this is on Blackboard there is a Word document. It starts off with Jeff could hardly believe it. Here he is sitting in the middle of all these students waiting for an exam. Suddenly he heard, well, you know now that hearing is your eighth nerve. So he'd type in 8 there. He blinked his eyes. Recall that blinking the eyes is the ocular motor. He quickly felt his chest. Anything down the chest is going to be the vagus nerve. And he felt nauseated. Again, the stomach is referring to the vagus nerve. So you'll follow through this, fill in the blanks, and then there's also a key posted for you on Blackboard. And this is exactly how I'm going to test you on the cranial nerves. You've all had your cranial nerves tested. When you go to the doctor quickly says, can you see the light? Can you follow my finger? Can you feel it when they touch your chin? Stick out your tongue, blink your eyes, turn your head. All of those you have very quickly, in less than 5 seconds, pretty much tested all of the cranial nerves. So now you just need to be able to remember them, and I hope that the mnemonics will help you in that, and that this worksheet will help you.